Yo, what's up guys? It's the Nightwing at Way of Life Esports coming at you guys with another League of Legends video here today. The LEC 2021 Spring Split Playoffs kicks off this Friday with Fnatic versus SK Gaming, Saturday G2 Esports versus Schalke No Fear, and then on Sunday you have Rogue versus Mad Lions. But before any of that can ever take place, this is going to end on that. I actually chose an EU player. I actually chose Finn, because I think, you know, he actually really did improve compared to what the narratives were set for him coming into the split, as he was the most improved player to me personally. And actually on this one, it's going to be a little bit more easier, because like putting together hard, because it was like, okay, let's be honest here, Reckless is probably our best ADC, right? Most likely.
I mean, yeah, that's a pretty safe assumption.
Yeah, like, so outside of Reckless, who you picking from in the fucking dumpster can, like, I have the people here that I thought decently stood out, but it wasn't like their spots couldn't hard, because what do you really value? Like in terms of what a player is offering versus what his team is also giving him too. It's just one of those things. Also, about the entire year though, that's just me. You know, I know a lot of people might think I'm trolling or just trying to be different. It's not that. There's certain things I really value in what someone is doing and what I can see during the game and what they are also offering as well. And then when it comes to support was also a decently tough position, because outside of my first pick, the other supports were like good to average, but the other one is like, okay, he didn't really have the most standout split, but he still was actually pretty solid. So any criteria you set out for your list, or?
I mean, kind of like with the way I did my NA decks.
Okay. And my LEC 2021 Spring Split All-Pro team is Treats, Reckless, Larson, Inspired, and Otawamne, actually. Yours?
It's going to be Broken Blade, Inspired, Larson, Reckless, and Kaiser.
Okay, so we have some pretty diverse lists over here. So, let's start with the third team. So the third team, what was yours again, actually?
It was, Otawamne, Elioya, Abadage, Upset, and Hylissang.
Okay, so, well, what's really interesting is that I was actually considering Hylissang, but there was like so many weeks where it was honestly just inting and running it down, where I was honestly just valuing, you know, consistency, and then these supports also being big playmakers for the team. Though I think Hylissang is still an amazing support, I think this split, it's just really hard to judge some of the Fnatic players, you know, and then, you know, I'm not even counting week 8 against him, because obviously he was, you know, sick, so I'm not counting that. I'm just counting the weeks where, you know, it was just constant dying, and then you also had constant games where he was flipping, you know, honestly just running it down for his team too. But he also played really well too. You know, he was also a big consideration, you know, for me as well. I think people, when they look at my list, are gonna go, why is there no Hylissang? Okay, people, yeah, Upset too. Oh, sorry. Oh my god, I'm retarded. Oh my god, my bad. I messed up on my second pick. It wasn't Hansama. It was Upset. Oh my god. It was literally Upset. My god, the only consistent fucking Fnatic player.
So wait, so do you have Hansama in your AD carry? Is he like third?
Yeah, he's like third. Fourth? He's third. My bad. Why did I say Karzi? What the fuck? I'm retarded, dude. I'm fucking over here being a fucking illiterate and shit. Look at that trash list, doesn't have Upset in there. Holy shit. Oh my god. Okay, my bad with that, guys. So the only thing that's changed is Karzi's not here. I'm actually just an illiterate. There's Upset. Upset is in my second place LEC 2021 Spring Split All-Pro team, and Hansama's in the third team. But yes, Hylissang just didn't make the cut for me, though I don't think he's a bad support. If Fnatic come in next split or in playoffs and they're going to be a lot more consistent, I think I'll just end up having him up here anyway. I think it's an average, you just have Hylissang in there. But if you're not really understanding what's happening in the game to the point where, you know, the support and the jungle have to dictate so much in the past metas that we've had, I can't really put him on this list in particular. But, actually, you actually had Abadage. I actually wasn't even considering him, actually.
Yeah, I thought he looked pretty good this season, or the split, rather. He actually, of all the mids, he participated in the most first bloods. So that's a little bit of he's really good at roaming, and then also that Gilius was trying to get him started, get him
Mm-hmm.
snowballing. He also one stat that I kind of jumped out to me was that he had the highest kill participation.
Yeah.
So it showed that Schalke was really fighting around mid a lot, and I think it helped him stand out as it's kind of a key carry.
Mm-hmm.
He's not amazing, but I think he did better and was a little more consistent than look at players who I left off my list, like Niski or Humanoid. I just think
I consider
Kage had a
Humanoid
better
too.
split this year
Yeah, I, I
than
actually
previously.
I actually considered Humanoid a lot too. The issue here is like it's not necessarily coin flip. It's just more like his impact in the game is also being a big detriment to his team too. You know, that's
Right.
also what's factoring in. He's been side laning a lot, and it's not really doing anything. He's also contributing a lot. It's just more like he's also contributing a lot, then also costing his team a lot too. That's the reason why I didn't really put him up here, but he was a big consideration as well.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go with Magiflix. So Magiflix I had because actually when I was looking at this guy play, there's a reason why I think Fnatic was holding on to this guy for a little bit of time. I genuinely think he's a really, really strong mid laner for Magiflix. Like when he came into Astralis, he literally made them look a whole lot better.
Instant impact.
Yeah,
Impact. Yeah.
like this, you can literally see this guy actually is talented, and I definitely think that Astralis is going to be a lot better in the LEC 2021 summer split with Magiflix, and I definitely think he's going to be a big part of that. Broken Blade should be on everyone's list, dude. This guy was literally the focal point of Schalke. Like Gilius was obviously, setting up Broken Blade to do well. He was definitely doing it on, Aatrox picks, Gangplank, Camille, or Aurelia when it was meta. Tinks also stood out really a lot to me. I think he had a standout split, but just not as consistent as some of these other guys who were actually getting their teams win. My second team, I think people might actually consider it weird to have Wonder in your second place team. Now, the issue here with the G2 players is that there was no bias going into this. I think they all played good and amazing this split too, but I also am considering, the last week where they kind of just ran it down as well. There were some weeks where they just didn't play that well either, and even though they played great to me, they also didn't play as well in certain key moments, which knocked them down. I think Wonder's still been a player they play through all the time. He's still been one of the biggest focal points of G2 that I still don't think to this day gets a lot of credit. Selfmade was also a pretty strong jungler to me. I think most of the split he played great. There was like the Olaf game where he didn't really play too well. There was Olaf in the Lillian games he didn't play too well. But other than that, he's been a really nice, hard driving force for Fnatic as well. Caps should be on everyone's list as well. I think Caps is just still one of the best mid laners in the LEC. Upset by far outside of Reckless is the second best ADC in the LEC. I mean, people, if he's not even on your list, I don't know what kind of crack you're smoking. This man was over here just going 1v9 in some games.
Yeah.
All those Kaisa quadra kills, he was fucking playing, my god, those Kalista games were so good. All those Samira games were so beautiful.
Was meta.
Also, I think Kaiser should be a big consideration too. That's the reason why he made my list as well. He was actually making a really, really big impact on Mad Lions as well, and I think he was one of the biggest parts as the reason why Mad Lions got a lot better too. Mad Lions looked pretty suspect for most of the split, and then you also had Kaiser pretty much being a nice stable support for the Mad Lions team as well. And time to talk about your second team. So anything on your second team you wanted to explain?
I mean, so I think Whippo is pretty self-explanatory.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Kind of like in the Hillisang thing where he might die a lot. I feel like he had a lot of impactful plays, a lot of impactful moments this year, whether it was on standard picks like Volibear or Renekton, or I think he played a couple Ornn games that were really good. But then he also, broke out other things like the Riven, or while it wasn't a great game, his Yone game was really. He did have some impactful moments in that game where it looked like he could, find a way to get back out of the deficit he was put in by G2. But I think it's hard. You'd be hard pressed not to include Whippo, other than just like, oh, he dies a lot.
Well, but he also had a
Yankos,
really
I think,
standout
is.
Riven game too. That Riven game was so good, actually.
Mhm.
But then
Yeah.
it's
So.
one of those things where I think the average person just looks at them dying, and that's never in a consideration for me to the fullest. Where it's like I can't put them on. I'm also looking at, is them dying a lot also contributing to their losses in a big way too. It's not just the dying,
Mhm.
is that people got to understand that is when you die a lot, you are also contributing to your team losing objectives, losing map presence when you could have them obviously being impactful. Because like he is really impactful for Fnatic though. A lot of people really don't understand that. Like he generally is a player that does a lot for them in terms of setting up engages, basically playing the bitch role and doing a lot of the engages. But the also issue here is that goes straight into Hylissang is like, is what they're doing only because they feel like that's the only way to really impact the game for how Fnatic's playing. So, you know.
Mhm.
But I
Yeah,
understand
and
why he's there for you. Like I
yeah.
get it, you know. But it's just one of those things about what you value more. And I think
Mhm.
Whipple's brought a lot of value. Like, dude, I think last year for spring, I had him as my MVP. So, I definitely see what you see in him. I definitely saw it too
Yeah.
until, that summer split kicked in. Finals kicked in where he couldn't
Yeah.
play Zac properly. Holy shit. He's just getting solo killed to death.
But then for my second team, jungle mid, I had Yankos Caps. I think it's hard not to include them on the list. I just think that they
Sometimes
fell
you're going
short in some degrees when it comes to first versus second. Which I just think Larson and Inspired just had a better split overall than Caps and Yankos. So it was a very slim margin, but I mean Caps and Yankos are still. I do think that depending on who you ask, some people might say Yankos was kind of the weak link on G2 this split.
That's also the reason why I didn't have him up here actually either. He actually, to me, like, I obviously, like, when I make these lists, there's no level of bias that comes into these things, as most people probably already know by now. The issue here is, like, I think these guys just played better. I don't think he was a weak link. I just genuinely think these guys played better. I'm not saying he's like the fourth best jungler by not having him on here. He's probably somewhere tied with Selfmade for me personally. I just think that Inspired played better than both of them. That's just,
And then as far as bot lane, I had Hansama, Mickey.
That was one of mine too. That was mine for my third place team. They were pretty solid overall. They were solid, not stand out, which is,
Yeah, Hansama was good. He continues to be a great mechanical player. It's just when compared to Reckless, there's just no comparison to who had the better split. And then as far as Mickey goes, he was very impactful on G2 this year, working really well with Elyoya and Humanoid, and of course working well with Karzi, but I think overall Kaiser had more of an impact consistently than Mickey did. I think Mickey X did have some standout performances like his Scion game, but then again, kind of like what you said in the week 8 with that weird Vigar game that didn't make any sense. I just think Kaiser, did better.
And now, time to go over the first place team. So there is decent amount of consideration when it came into all of these players in the first team. I was factoring in mostly everything you could think of: team impact, laning. For for specific roles, you have to factor in what makes them them. Not just top lane is an island, but top lane is also something where I believe you should be TPing on time, not TPing and dying consistently. You're also TPing and having an immediate impact. So the reason why I have Otto Wamne as my LEC 2021 Spring Split first place All-Pro team, I think he just offered everything for his team. TPs were amazing, team fights were amazing, laning was good, was never really getting bullied in lane consistently. He was never a weak link for his team. He was always playing weak side or strong side. Inspired or Larson should be on everybody's top list, whether they're in first, second, or third. These guys were the best mid-jungle duo. Inspired was the best jungler in the LEC in my own personal opinion. Larson was also the best mid laner in my own personal opinion. Reckless is by far, not to be fair, by far, this split, just a split, the best ADC. And then you also had Treats, who I think was by far the best support. Most standout support, too. I also think that if you want to consider upset there, over Reckless is fine. You know, I think that wouldn't be a hot take if anybody ever had that. But just in terms of what I saw in both players, I think Reckless played this split just better. Who doesn't get his teams win either. But he was super standout. But you know, then again, they are playing ADC, so you also have to factor in, you know, are they playing team fights very well? Are they dishing out enough damage? Are they, you know, spacing, autoing properly? These are things people make sure they need to watch in team fights when you're actually ranking players, because these are in certain roles you have to rank things differently. And for Inspired, I like the way that they impacted the game together more than like someone like Yankos and Caps, you know. So that's kind of where I was going with that. So what your first place team? Any criteria for that?
I mean, it kind of the same thing, you know, who was the most impactful, you know, who stood out or was a key factor in their team's winning, which is kind of like why I have Kaiser for best support and why I have Broken Blade whole, but some of their more impactful wins, like when they beat G2, he was.
Oh, you're cutting out sometimes. You're going in low sometimes.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Broken Blade was just kind of the more impactful top laner. Like, I agree that, you know, Ottawamne could be first. I just don't think that when you look at how Rogue played around Odo versus how Schalke played around Broken Blade, Ottawamne had good, you know, points in like team fights or, you know, not dying in lane, versus Broken Blade, who kind of just got ahead in lane or would, you know, get jungle attention from Gilius and then translate that lead into better team fighting and into tower plates and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like, dude, the top lane position for, like, the top four were pretty, like, it was like, man, it's like hard, Broken Blade, hard carry, Wonder and Ottawamne playing for the team and also being a carry. It's just, whew, some of these LEC picks were like, these are like tough as hell for me personally.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess it's worth pointing out that neither of us brought up Armit.
I just didn't think he was that good, honestly, man. I'm just being honest. I just didn't think he was that good.
I thought he was pretty good. I don't think that he was.
I don't think it was amazing, but in terms of like what he was supposed to be, like before coming to the split, about what he was supposed to be, it was hard carry, better than Arome, taking Mad Lions to the next level. Just didn't get that. Just like these other guys have definitely made their team better. Like Ottawamne made Rogue better. Wonders made G2 who they are, and Broken Blade definitely made Schalke better though.
Yeah, I think that would depend on, though, how you viewed Mad Lions last split. Like, if you viewed them as a solid B team, I do think the inclusion of Armut and Elyoya brought them up to, like, an A-tier team. I just don't think that, you know, they made that leap to, like, an S-tier, like, contender for first place team.
Yeah.
I do think that there's a significant increase in overall gameplay. I just think that's because of the floor that Mad Lions had last split. The floor for this iteration of the roster is higher.
It was just the fact that everything people wanted in Arma, they got in Broken Blade. That's just everything. The hard, and that's totally. Just more of an impact on his team. Like, because Arma coming in, he didn't really have a good week until about, let's say, like week 3.
Week 3 or 4.
Week 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, you factoring in Broken Blade was just hard carrying his team. Even through losses, he was still a very big impact too. You know, I mean, I definitely see why they grabbed him though. I think it's good to have him, but I think that in terms of just better mechanical prowess, I think it just goes to Broken Blade. Who else did you have? Oh, Lawyer on your second team. Yeah, I remember. Okay. Oof. Over players like Selfmade and...
No, sorry. I had Eloya third, rather. So it went Inspired 1, Yankos 2, Eloya 3.
Yeah, so I had Tinks in my third. And it's just one of those things where, you know, they were standout rookies to a certain extent. I remember was for that guy. It's just about, you know, a certain level of consistency I had to value too. I think the only weird pick to people on my list is going to be like Ottawamne first for the all-pro team. It's just like, you know, it's one of those tomato things. Mickey X is third. Just didn't really, and compared to just the other two guys, like Kaiser and Treats, I just think that Mickey X didn't, like, impact his team the same way, but was still a really solid pro teams. Third team, Broken Blade, Tinks, Magic Felix, Hans Sama, and Mickey X. Second team, Wonder, Selfmade, Caps, Upset, and Kaiser. So I'm just gonna go and say both players, or one player, actually. One consistent player I had who actually stood out so well that he got his team not just only into playoffs. You saw the carry potential in this player going from one team in NA and coming into this team and having a big impact. Most improved player goes to Treat, and and for my LEC 2021 Spring Split MVP also goes to Treats as well. So there was the consideration of, having a support this impactful. You really got a chance to see, like, having a impactful support on the map just the way he was, honestly, getting crucial engages. There were games where they were losing, he would make the big play, get them back in the game. When they were tower diving, he hit the AD carry, support, mid laner, whatever carry you're going for, and then they're actually winning team fights. This guy was warding amazing. They were laning also pretty good. I think him and Jesus were a really great bot lane, and I definitely think SK Gaming got where they are right now into playoffs, and why they were considered a really strong team with rookies was because of Treats. Now, going back into him being on TSM him getting subbed out because, fucking friendship, dude, right? Friendship rules, and they're gonna put in fucking Biofrost. Treats coming over to the LEC, 2021 Spring Split on SK Gaming. He played amazing. I think he impacted his team really well. I think he laned perfectly well, impacted his team in team fights, got his team's wins. Then also you're factoring in, like, he's flanking at certain angles where he's getting the ADC killed. He's actually putting in his team in advantageous positions to get dragons, Rift Heralds. This guy's just the best support for the split. And he was my most improved player, not just most valuable, because you also factor in, he looked pretty kind of bad on TSM2 at certain moments. He just improved at everything. So that's where the improvement comes from. And you also have to factor in most valuable, because then again, you're also bringing in, the other valuable traits he brought in while also improving himself. So, that's why I had Treats as my LEC 2021 Spring Split most valuable player and most improved player as well. The same guy straight through. He just impressed me the whole split. This guy is on fire. I hope he continues this next split, because if he doesn't, I'm going to be so mad.
Yeah, no, he definitely had a great breakout split. I do think he's easily the candidate to beat for rookie of the split.
Ew, gross. That's a bitch award. Give my man Treats an MVP. This man's over here doing God's work, carrying SK Gaming, fucking playoffs and shit. So who's your
on
MVP?
The LEC broadcast, they brought him up as a potential MVP candidate.
Bro, let's be honest here, he ain't winning shit. Like, outside of, like, us giving him praise, he ain't winning shit. It's gonna be, like, reckless for the 20,000th time.
Probably.
Oh my god. Alright, who is your LEC 2021 Spring Split MIP?
MIP, I'm giving it to Upset. I think that this is the first time.
That's a good one, too. That was my second pick, actually.
He's been, like, this is him on a true carry potential, a team that is setting him up to carry. He's had good, regular seasons before on teams like Schalke, on teams like Origin, / Astralis. I think this is the first time where he actually lived up to the hype, and is setting himself up to be a top 3, a true top 3 AD carry.
And your LEC 2021 Spring Split MVP?
Inspired.
Okay, that's fine too. These are players that I all consider too. Inspired actually was just so impactful for his team, man.
Inspired might be kind of a cop-out, but, like, just the impact he had on the game, the way that he is just head and shoulders any other jungler in the league.
We were cutting out for a second, what?
Oh, sorry. The way that Inspired is, his impact on the game, the way... I don't think Rogue has the same amount of success that they do. Meanwhile, I think if you put Inspired on any other team, you might see them go up a tier. Like, I think it's Inspired is the best jungler in EU, and I'd like to see what he does moving forward.
And yeah, guys, that pretty much secures this as our LEC 2021 Spring Split all pro teams and MIP as well as MVP. Congrats, Treats. You made my list in both categories. I don't think I've ever actually had that before as a player that's made both, even just in terms of, like, when I first started doing these things. So, congrats, Treats, and congrats to Inspired and Upset for making T-Root's list. Upset definitely played good. He was my second pick for both of them. Because it was only just those two for both of them. I was like, holy shit, who do I pick? Because Upset actually played amazing, dude. Coming from, like, idiots who didn't know what the fuck they were talking about, saying he was some dog shit. He was just, like, a trash ADC. You can hold your fat L now. Like, here, just take your L. Just hold it and just take it. There's your L. Oh, man, he's so worse than Reckless. Oh, my God, Fnatic will suck with Upset. Yeah, sure, dude. I don't know if you watch these games.
Yeah, and this is, kind of speaking as the Fnatic fan in the room. When you look at Fnatic, there's definitely a level of nuance. I mean, there's a reason Upset and Hylissang have the most straight 2v2 kills in the league. They had like a dozen or something.
They should have the best bot.